Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. A massive development occurred this week in global politics. This development laid the foundation for the emergence of a brand new world order. The whole world had its eyes fixated on the historic Russian city of Kazan because this city was hosting the BRICS 24 summit. The summit saw several developments, such as the launching of a symbolic currency note, and a comprehensive framework was developed in order to set up an alternative global financial system. This system, as has been highlighted by Mr. Modi and Mr. Putin, is not an anti Western system, it's just a non Western one, which is to say that smaller nations of the global south who feel underrepresented in traditional economic institutions will have a platform of exercising their very own influence within this bloc. Besides offering an alternative platform to smaller nations, this summit also rekindled the hopes of success for the BRICS. The BRICS is now BRICS Plus with the inclusion of new members such as the UAE, Iran, Ethiopia, and Egypt. Apart from these four nations, 13 nations were also associated with BRICS in the form of partner states, and there are several more countries which have applied for the membership of the BRICS. The greatest political takeaway from this summit, however, was the underscoring of the fact that Russia continues to be a massive player in global affairs. In the wake of Russia's military operation in Ukraine, the whole Western Bloc began a massive campaign to isolate it. From the banning of its sports teams to the slapping of back-breaking sanctions, the Americans and NATO left no stone unturned at ensuring the utter annihilation of Russia's global influence and its economy. Mr. Biden even went as far as saying that the ruble, the Russian currency, will be nothing but rubble in no time at all. But the BRICS summit and the developments that surround it were a perfect reminder to the West of the sheer futility of its policies. For starters, Russia's economy has been very, very stable, even though it's been confronted by turbulent waters. And this is thanks to massive imports of energy and technology by its trusted partners such as India and China. India's involvement in Russia's energy and defense sector has already been covered in the previous video, but just to quote you some figures, Russia's economy has been projected to grow by 3.5% in this financial year. The best performing G7 economy, that is the United States, is a whole percentage below this at just 2.4%. And in fact, the IMF has placed Russia as the fourth largest economy in terms of the purchasing power parity. So now we can see to what extent the Russian economy has been destroyed and to what extent the ruble has become rubble. So far as its political isolation is concerned, well, that was refuted with a single photo. Yes, the photo, the iconic photo of Mr. Putin standing in between Mr. Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping summed up the success of the so-called isolation plans that were laid down by the West. These were not just two men standing on either sides of Mr. Putin, but combined they were representatives of almost 3 billion people. And those two great nations are standing side to side with Russia in this particular case. Not just that, the fact that leaders from over 30 countries visited this summit just based on Mr. Putin's personal invitation was a resounding blow to the attempts of boycotting Russia. Many of these countries included supposed allies of the US, such as the NATO country Turkey, the new Bangladesh under the new regime, GCC monarchies such as Saudi Arabia and Bahrain, who were traditionally thought as being US allies, did attend this summit. The Western media's coverage of this particular summit serves as a reminder, a reality check, and a mirror to the Western leadership as to how futile and feeble their goals are. It's been 2 years into the military operation by Russia, and this plan of making the world abandon Moscow has been achieved in just the mental space of the deep state. Realities on ground are totally different, my friends. However, the major show stealer was the iconic bilateral meeting between Mr. Modi and Mr. Xi Jinping that took place after a gap of 5 long years. India and China, before the summit, announced an agreement that would lead to disengagement and a subsequent reduction in military deployments across the LAC. This development was welcomed by either side with full enthusiasm. A key factor that may have led to this particular agreement is Mr. Putin. Yes, the thing is that a lot of analysts claim that Mr. Putin could be the glue behind this massive diplomatic reset. And this claim is not unbelievable. After all, Russia has key allies in the form of India and China, and these allies being at war would be the last thing Moscow would want. A cooperative partnership between Delhi and Beijing would serve as a lucrative and beneficial proposition for all the three nations involved. Moreover, the fact that several high level diplomatic engagements between India and China took place physically in Russia further adds fuel to this particular hypothesis, such as the recently concluded meeting between the Indian NSA Mr. Ajit Doval and the Chinese Foreign Minister Mr. Wang Yi. In fact, Russia has never even shied away from expressing its firm desire for a strong Indo Chinese relationship. Mr. Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, in 2023 even stated that Moscow is actively trying to bring these two powerful Asian giants to peace. Seemingly, Russia's attempts have been highly successful. If this truce holds between Delhi and Beijing, it will be Russia's greatest diplomatic maneuver since the post Soviet era. Apart from India and China, several other nations seen as adversaries did come together on the same diplomatic table as a part of this summit. It includes Iran and Saudi Arabia. In fact, these two countries, as this summit was nearing its conclusion, announced joint naval drills in yet another blow to the deep state's ambitions of a war-torn Middle East. Yet another pair of rivals attending the summit were leaders from Armenia and Azerbaijan. And Russia has actively played the role of a peacemaker between these two countries, since Russia will certainly benefit from a stable and peaceful coexistence in the Caucasus. Well, if Russia could pull off this reconciliation between India and China, then literally no diplomatic achievement is beyond their reach. The fact that rival nations put aside their differences to come to an event hosted on Russian soil is telling of how much influence Moscow enjoys in the entire global order, and how delusional are those who aim to isolate it. That was all for today, my friends. If you found the video to be informative, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Jai Hind, friends. Take care.